Are you guys hearing the
Now
Hijinks sports?
you're good now. You're good now. But I just asked you something. You might have
No, I
heard
know,
me.
but
I can hear you. That's what it
I'm
was.
hearing the happy hour Hijinks Sports Grill 4 to 7 over and over again in my ear. So feedback.
Oh, okay. See if Sean can.
Here's Miami Dolphins insider Joe Schad. I keep hearing the ad over and over again.
Okay,
There you
but
go.
are you on the live? Are you looking at YouTube or are you live on your link? Don't be looking at YouTube because if you're connected to the YouTube link, then you're delayed. Are you connected to the link that we sent you? That's the key. Can you hear me now? You're
Yeah,
good?
I don't watch your show on YouTube, no offense. No. Listen, obviously disappointing. Know this team has a lot of injuries, wrote about the injuries, asked Mike McDaniel about the injuries. But they needed to find a way to win one or two of these. 0-5 doesn't cut it.
Your thoughts on how the offensive line played without Armstead and putting Liam Eichenberg back? I know you got to look at the film and all that, but it seemed like they did a pretty decent job overall of giving them time to pass.
Yeah, it was fine. You can't blame the offensive line. There's a lot of things to blame, a lot of people to blame. Teddy Bridgewater with the pick six. Skylar Thompson with the interception right after that. Noah Igbenogany giving up a touchdown. The Dolphins defense once again folding late in the fourth quarter, giving up a long drive. That's happened too often this year. Trying to find a spot that doesn't have a bright overhead light. That's just the deal here, I guess. There you go. That's a little better.
So what is it, like an empty? You're in the suite still, and it's nice and empty. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm still here. There's just the bright fluorescent overhead lights that really bother my eyes, and they look bad on camera. So, but
by the way,
so what I wrote about
stuff. By the way, the important stuff. What was at halftime? What'd you eat? Because that's one of the best spreads in the NFL. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, no, I had the ice cream with the apples and a lot of coffee and a lot of cookies and yeah, it was a good meal. It was good. We had a really good meal in the north end of Boston last night. It was me, David Furonis, and Adam Beasley. We went to a really, really good Italian restaurant.
Which one?
So that's about the best thing I can say about the Dolphins right now.
What was the name of the restaurant? What was the name of the restaurant?
Prezzo.
Huh?
Yeah, so I'm telling you, Prezzo. Prezza.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. All right. Yeah, no, it's a little dicey. Teddy Bridgewater. All right. So how do you handle this going into next offseason? All right. They're going to bring Tua back. That's not even a question, obviously. But they don't have a lot of draft capital. And because you have to go into next season with the thought that he is injury prone, that he's going to miss games, something's going to happen, you're going to need somebody behind him, not just Skylar, but somebody proven. I know they don't have a lot of draft capital, but they can make cap space at least. Who would you go after? What kind of a name do you think you bring? Because it has to be somebody even better than Teddy Bridgewater. Doesn't it have to be somebody that almost can challenge Tua also at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is a guy who is the obvious answer. He knows the offense, and he is injury prone. But if you combine him with Tua, if you combine him with Tua, you obviously hope that one of them will be healthy and available. It's not easy to stay healthy and available at quarterback, as we've seen here with the Dolphins. So, Mike White, who else? There's not a lot of big names. Big name quarterbacks don't usually become available on the free agent market. But even Teddy was injury prone. That's one thing I mentioned in my column. Big O, I know you're a big Chris Grier fan. Yeah. Chris Grier has done some good things. But it is a fact that Tua Tagovailoa, Xavier Howard, Bradley Chubb, and Teron Armstead were all either high draft picks or given a lot of money in free agency, and they all have injury checkered pasts. And now they're all hurt at the same time.
Yeah. So Byron Jones, by the way. Byron Jones.
I don't know how many games he's missed over his career. I don't know.
Well,
I'll have to
I
go
mean,
back and check, but
you gave him big money and he's missed the whole year, so that
yeah,
doesn't matter.
but he wasn't
Whatever,
necessarily
right? He
injury
was
prone.
injury prone, right? I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Even Teddy, I
yeah,
mean, injury prone.
yeah. I'm a big Chris Greer fan. I believe in Chris Greer, but this is bad for him right now. There's no doubt the Chubb move is a disaster for him right now. Tua, you knew that. I mean, for me, I know others had problems or questions about his play. I never question his play. I always question his durability, and that's the one thing. And you took the chance, and he has not been durable at all, and that's been a problem for the team. No, I'm with you. As much as I like Chris Greer, this is a bad look for him right now. Igbenogany not coming through, Austin Jackson not coming through, and then if Tua is not successful because he was really the linchpin in that draft, that becomes a bad look for him. So yeah, no, I'm sure. Listen, everybody's going to get heat now. I got plenty of people saying fire McDaniel, get rid of Tua, and fire Chris Greer. Oh, and Stephen Ross sell the team. I'm sure you're getting all four of those also.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't spoken to Stephen Ross in a long time. Maybe he'll speak at the NFL owners' meetings in Arizona in March, although I kind of doubt it. I know there's been a couple of statements released, but that first round draft pick for the Tom Brady tampering, if in fact the NFL would allow Tom Brady to come to the Dolphins, you wonder, would he bring Brady on and have Tua be the backup developmental guy?
I doubt that's going to happen. Because the talk is Sean Payton going back to New Orleans, and Brady going with him. And I think if Brady's going to go somewhere, he's going to go somewhere where he can get the coach also that can help him out. I don't think Mike McDaniel's done enough for Brady to trust. So he would rather go with Sean Payton probably more to New Orleans. I think that's unrealistic because you would have to trade for Payton anyways, and Miami doesn't have any capital to trade. So to me, that's all talk. I think it's more what you said. It's the Garoppolo. It's Derek Carr. It's something along those lines. You're going to have to try to see if you can bring one of those guys in. But I don't know if those guys are going to come here when you tell them you're competing or you're backing up, when maybe those guys are going to be offered. I think Derek Carr is going to be offered a starting job somewhere. Don't you?
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, we have felt that way about other quarterbacks before and been surprised when they weren't offered a starting job and had to take a backup job somewhere, at least temporarily. Like the Jameis Winstons of the world, those kinds of guys, who have pedigree, the Marcus Mariotas of the world, the Ryan Tannehills of the world. You can draw a direct parallel between the end of Ryan Tannehill's career and the end of Derek Carr's career in Las Vegas. And Tannehill ended up having to go, quote unquote, compete with Mariota. Then Mariota had to end up signing somewhere as a backup. So there's sort of a cycle of quarterbacks with pedigree who run their flame extinguishes in their originating city, and then they maybe have to be in that backup / compete role. It's just, here we were 8-3 not long ago. Now we're 8-8. No first round pick. Tua has at least 2 concussions. The defense is folded in the fourth quarter multiple times. Jason Sanders and the special teams continue to be a disaster. It's just a terrible fall. I don't remember the 1993 season, but I looked it up, and the Dolphins went from 9-2 to 9-7, missed the playoffs. Don Shula was the coach. Dan Marino got hurt. Steve DeBerg and Scott Mitchell took snaps at quarterback for the Dolphins. What do you remember? Is there a parallel to this year?
Yeah. Well, the what I remember the most about that year was Armando Salguero. So I'm doing a show, and they're 9-2. And Salguero writes an article in the Herald, and he also comes on my show. And I was doing a Spanish sports talk show at that moment, and he tells me there's something wrong with this team.
Oh wow,
they're 9-2.
Wow, that was a good call.
So he creates this stir in town, like, and immediately, you must be a hater and this and that, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't.
Was Marino hurt or no?
No. It was just one of those things. Like the team.
What was his injury? That was an
There was
Achilles, wasn't it?
that was the Achilles, but that was.
Oh, okay.
But there was like this malaise over the team. Apparently, that they didn't. There wasn't some kind of chemistry in the team, and sure enough, dude, they went on to lose the next 5 games.
Did they have like Keith Byers and Keith Jackson and Richmond Webb and all those guys?
Yeah.
Irving Fryer, were they all on the team?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it was an absolute disaster.
Marco Coleman, was he on that team?
The Cobra. I think the Cobra was still on that team.
This is very random. What about the guy who's the NFL executive now, Troy Vincent?
Yes, he was on that team.
All right. So I didn't cover the Dolphins then, but
yeah, it was a really good team.
I remember that group. Okay.
It was a fun team, and things fell apart. Now, this is a little different, and so here's where. How do we look at McDaniel now? Because there's no doubt that he's got an offensive mind. There's no doubt about that. We've seen what it's like with no offensive mind. Just like watching these 2 quarterbacks play, you can see there's a drop-off from 2 of those guys, accuracy, everything. You know what I'm saying? So, but how do we, as much as there are things to like about McDaniel, the totality of all of this at 8-3 to now be 8-8, this is actually a terrible look for him. So how are you?
Yeah, I mean, you got to point out that Brian Flores won 10 games and 9 games in the previous 2 seasons. If the Dolphins lose on Sunday to the Jets, they'll have 8 wins, which is a colossal disaster, a disappointment, a failure. We will point that out. We will absolutely point it. We will also note that this team has been decimated by injuries and that McDaniel has been very honest and transparent about learning things in his first year as a head coach, including how to be an effective play caller, how to be a timely play caller, and also how to message with the team. So I have no doubt that he will be a better coach in his second year. But yeah, I mean, it would be a disaster. And then you wonder, will he bring back special teams coach Danny Crossman? Will he bring back Josh Boyer? If he has a chance to hire Vic Fangio, you have to think maybe they move on and turn over the defensive staff. So the Dolphins clearly have the right offense.
If you can hire Fangio, if you can really hire, I mean, but he's up there in years. So I don't know how long solution. You really want to do it. And again, you can say what you want about the defense. They allowed 16 points, bro. They allowed 16 points. Offense lost its game again.
They seem to get tired.
Yeah.
They get tired because they're playing a lot of snaps.
They suck. They're not a good defense. They don't have a lot of talent on this defense.
I don't know about the no talent.
I don't. They don't. They don't have a lot
Christian
of talent.
Wilkins and Jalen Phillips and Javon Holland.
And they can only do something. They can't cover everybody, bro. And they can't play linebacker either. They have no thumper in the middle. They're weak in their secondary.
Roberts was okay today.
They don't have enough of a pass rush. Those guys can only do so much, dude. They don't have much on that defense at all, dude. And yet still 16 points. Offense scored 21. They didn't have to win. But the offense gave away a pick 6 and the idiot field goal kicker missed the field goal.
Another missed field goal.
I mean, you guys, it's like
he's got to go. You can't go 1 of 6, 1 of 7 from 50 yards.
I just think that some of you have too many. You have higher expectations for a group that it's Keon Crossan. Marcel's like, well, he should be better in week 17. I'm like, why? He's Keon Crossan. He's not going to get any better. Just like Noah Igbenogany. I don't give a shit. We're in year 4. He's not going to get any better. Or year 3.
Year 3 or 4, yeah.
Year 3. I'm sorry, because 2 is year 3. So it's like he's not going to get any better. He is what he is, dude. What do you want to do?
That was a bad pick, unfortunately.
Yep.
Austin Jackson and Liam Pembroke haven't proven to be good picks.
So far, they have not. That's for damn sure. All right, what do you got going on in the Palm Beach Post so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yeah, check out the column that I posted on the Palm Beach Post about whether or not the Dolphins should have realized that by signing players who have injuries in their past, that this could happen, that so many key players could be injured at the most critical moment. And Mike McDaniel told that story. It was a specific question. I asked Mike McDaniel if he's ever encountered a roster depth challenge situation like this. And he basically said it'd be up there. And then Dave Hyde followed and said, because I asked him, well, were Chubb, X, or Armstead very close? And he said, yeah. And then Hyde followed up and said, well, what was the moment where you learned they were all out? Did you get it all at the same time? And he said, yeah, usually the trainer comes and tells me who's up and down. He goes, this time Greer came over, so I kind of knew it was bad news. Greer came over and said, yeah, we're 0 for 3. And all 3 of those guys are Pro Bowlers. So when you are missing 3 Pro Bowlers and the league leader in passer rating and his backup and all 5 starters on defense, I'm not going to say I'm not a big excuse guy because they almost won. And McDaniel thought that they had enough to win today. But there are reasons. There are reasons for this. There are reasons.
Yeah. It's just he has less excuses on offense. Defense has all the excuses. On offense,
it's tough when Kendall Lamb is going off on a golf cart. Our viewers have never heard of Kendall Lamb. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're like, oh no, this must be important if a guy who we've never even heard of is leaving on a golf cart and he's in the game.
Yeah.
Tough.
It's great. And by the way, apparently they're reporting that Teddy Bridgewater broke a finger.
Not a surprise, yeah.
So
not a surprise.
It'll be the Skyler show. It'll be the Skyler show to end the season.
Maybe you'll shock us all. Pull a Reed Sinnott preseason finale star super unexpected.
Well, they better go get another quarterback because guarantee one thing so far: nor Teddy nor Tyler can finish Skyler. I'm sorry, Teddy or Skyler can't finish a game. So that's the bad part about it. Every time they come in for a game, they don't finish that game. So go get somebody else just in case this week. So this is going to be a very interesting final week.
All right, buddy. I'll see you back home.
Be safe in your travels.
Right, take care.
You got it. There we go. Joe Schad. Enough of the hijinks.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.